I'm Brandon. Welcome to my channel, Books in the Shire. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in April. April was honestly probably my best reading month ever. I read 10 books in April, which is insane for me. Granted, half of them are graphic novels, but like, they're still books. It's still reading. I did the deed. I read them. I'm really proud of myself. And also too, the books, like the novels that I did read, they were pretty lengthy novels too. So I killed it in April. I don't know how. I was so stressed in April because I had finals. I was preparing for the end of the semester. So I think honestly, I just read to not do finals. Damien, my cat. I think I read so much because I was like super stressed with school and for finals. So I just like avoided them and read. So props to me on that, I guess. The first book that I read in April was The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is the first book in the Bridgerton series. Yes, I stand the show. Okay, I'm sorry. I know it's trash. I know it's bad, but it's like a guilty pleasure because I do kind of feel guilty enjoying it because it's just like, it's not great, but whatever. But I was like really hyped with the second season coming out, and I've wanted to read the book since I watched the first season earlier this year. And so I was like, might as well read it. So I just read the first book, The Duke and I thought it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. Simultaneously, the show was better and worse than the book, if that makes sense. I think I liked Daphne a lot more in the book because she was more tolerable. In the show, she's just hella annoying, and I'm not about that. In the book, she's still annoying, but she has some autonomy. Like, she is able to kind of stand up for herself more and she fights back more, which I enjoy. I did think it was really fast paced though, because you couldn't really tell how much time was passing. Like, sometimes it would be like a few weeks would pass and then like a day would pass. It was a little confusing. I really don't have much to say about it because I really don't remember this book. That's how unimpressionable it was on me. All I remember is that I liked Daphne better, and I thought the plots were a little better, but I do like that the show expanded on some characters because this book, like, you didn't get to know any of the siblings except for a bit of Anthony, but even with Anthony, you were like, wow, he's just a dick, which, fine, but like, is that his only character trait? Yes, it was. Next, I read Heartstopper Volume 3. I read this for my graphic novel reading vlog. I will link it up in the cards thing and down below if you're interested in it, but I gave Heartstopper Volume 3 5 stars. I don't know what to say. It was just wonderful, fantastic, and I absolutely adore it. They're kind of away from home, learning about themselves and like building their friendships and everything, and that I really liked about this one. And I especially liked how you got more of the friend group in this, especially like you really got to know more of the friends. I suck at reviewing books. I'm very sorry in advance. I just really loved this. It was just really cute, really sweet, and like wholesome. I love it. Also too, if you haven't watched the show, what are you doing with your life? Like, oh, it was so cute, so good, so wholesome. It made my heart happy. Next, I have another 5-star read, and that is Heartstopper Volume 4. Just as amazing as Volume 3, like so good, so sweet. This one does tackle a lot more serious topics, but it tackles eating disorders. I know that there's some homophobia in it, and this is my cat coming in, so I'm very sorry in advance. He has to be known. I don't have much to say about either, just that I absolutely love them, so read them. Wow, so another 5-star read? Yeah, this was a good month. But that is Avatar: The Last Airbender, Smoke and Shadow. I gave this 5 stars. I love this. This is my favorite Avatar graphic novel so far. It was just so well done. I mentioned this briefly in my graphic novel reading vlog. I couldn't think of that word. I don't know why. But I mentioned it briefly that I like that this one doesn't have Katara and Sokka in it very much. They have like one scene and that's it. Because I love Katara and Sokka, but I feel like they kind of take away from Aang's story progression, I guess. And so in this one, it's just Aang with like Zuko, Azula, Mai, Ty Lee. Like, he's really building a relationship with the Fire Nation kids, and I really like that. I like that they go beyond, you know, the general group. Each one has kind of handled a external, like, political conflict, kind of, you know, the difference between nations, the conflicts between nations, where this one, it is solely just in, like, the Fire Nation, an issue at the capital of the Fire Nation, basically, and I really liked that. It was a bit different because you see how there's conflict within the Fire Nation itself because Zuko is on the throne now instead of Ozai. Continuing with my graphic novel reading vlog, I read Nightcrawler, The Devil Inside. I gave this 3 stars. I do talk about it briefly in that vlog, but basically, I didn't enjoy this. I think that there was just not enough plot and not enough characterization. Even though plot lines would span multiple issues, like, it wasn't enough to keep me fully engaged and intrigued. Honestly, I think I gave this 3 stars because it's Nightcrawler and I love him, and because I love the X-Men. I just didn't love it as much as I thought I would. So yeah, I think this is more realistically a 2-star for me, but, like, because of nostalgia and my love for these characters, I gave it 3 stars. I'm switching sides because my hand hurts, so yeah. But next I read Cress by Marissa Meyer. This is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I'm probably not going to talk too much about this because I'm doing, like, a reading vlog where I finish this series, so that'll be in that video whenever it comes out, probably in, like, a month, I don't know. I gave this book 4 stars. There were elements that were really good. The beginning was great, the ending was great, the middle was not good. I was really excited for this one because I liked the buildup of Cress's character in the previous 2 books. So I was really excited to see how that plays out. But I didn't like the execution of it because each book follows the titular character. So because this one's Cress, it follows Cress the most. But I didn't like the plot with her because a lot of it is her and Thorn getting to know each other, and that's great and all, but can I get plot into, like, what's actually happening in the world, not them walking through a desert? I don't know. I was conflicted. I was really looking forward to it, and it just wasn't what I wanted it to be, unfortunately. It's by no means a bad book. I gave it 4 stars. It's really good. But I think for me, that part, the whole, like, middle chunk, which was probably like 200 pages, was just really slow for me, and not in a good way. It was just felt like too repetitive. There was too much of the same thing happening over and over again for the sake of Cress and Thorn getting to build a relationship, which could easily have been done in a different way. I totally forgot to say that before I read Cress, or finished Cress, I read Goldie Vance Volume 1, which is, like, a cozy mystery graphic novel. That's, again, in my graphic novel reading vlog. I thought it was really cute. I gave it 4 stars. It was fun, quick read. You gotta kind of suspend disbelief. Is that the phrase? Suspend disbelief? Suspend belief? Y'all know what I mean, I hope. But yeah, like, some of it is, like, very antics-based, and it's kind of, you know, like, far-fetched, but it's still really fun, super cute, and the art style was lovely. Really enjoyed it. Definitely gonna keep going with the series. Next, I have Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I gave this book 3 stars. I was really excited for this book. So last year, around the time it came out, I had read, I think, the first 100 to 150 pages, and I was really enjoying it. But every time I picked it up, I wasn't able to read more than, like, 20 pages at a time because there was just so much information. My brain just couldn't handle all of it at once. So I eventually, like, soft DNF'd it, I guess you could say. I wasn't DNFing it. I was going to pick it up later. So I just kind of stopped reading it for a while. And then this year, I put it on my 22 books to read in 2022. So I was like, I need to get to this. And I was really looking forward to it because I had enjoyed what I had read last year. And then once I got past the section that I had read to, I was so bored. Not even that, but there's so much information just told to you that I honestly couldn't remember anything happening. Like, and there's indexes kind of in the book, like in the end and in the beginning, it kind of explains, like, the different houses and everything. I'm one of those readers who, like, never refers to those, so that's kind of bad on me. But I feel like I shouldn't have to refer to those as the reader. It should be explained well for me to understand in the book. So it was just really challenging for me because they were saying names left and right. I don't know who the characters are. I didn't know how they impacted the story, and it just took away from my enjoyment because I didn't know what was happening. Like, who were these people? How did they play into the story? It was really confusing for me. The story was, like, really long and slow. Even though stuff was happening, it just felt like you were kind of hitting a wall every time you got to a plot point. Like, it was a lot of build up and then you'd hit the wall and it'd be like, hey, it's done, over with, move on. But that was just really difficult for me. I just didn't enjoy it. I had such high hopes. I'm so sad that this didn't live up to my expectations, but whatever, it's okay. Next, I read Fairest by Marissa Meyer. I gave this 5 stars. I loved this book. Like, this is a prequel to Cinder. This is Queen Lavanna's story. If you don't know, Queen Lavanna is like the main villain in the Lunar Chronicles series. So this is her backstory, and it was so good. Like, it was the perfect length. It was the perfect amount of information. It covered like years of time, but it never felt like I was missing anything. Everything was just really well done. And like, Lavanna's just evil. Like, she's just a bitch. And I appreciated that so much because I was a little hesitant about this. Not hesitant, but I was worried that it was going to be a redemption arc. And I didn't want that for Lavanna because I know that was like a big thing years ago where every single villain had to have a redemption arc. And I think that's just stupid. Like, why can't people just be bad people? There are bad people in the world. So it's like, why can't a character just be bad? And like, while there were things that happened in her childhood that kind of shaped who she was, those weren't defining why she was bad. She was already a bad person, but then she had bad things happen to her too, which made her even worse. And I just really liked that about it. It was just really well done, really well executed. I absolutely loved it. This is my favorite in the Lunar Chronicles series so far, with Cinder like a close second because they're both very good. The last book that I read in April was The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The reason I didn't give it 5 stars was just because I never had those like feelings where I was like, holy shit. Like, I did have some of those moments, but as a whole, I was never like, this is incredible, this is absolutely amazing. It was still really good, but I didn't have those moments, so that's why it's a 4.5. I'm so glad I picked this up. Thank you, Ash from Smoke Shelves, for recommending this. They kept talking about it on their channel, so I said, I need to pick this up right away, and I'm so glad I did because incredible. This is the second book in the Prison Healer series. I read The Prison Healer last year, and I enjoyed that book, but there were moments of it that weren't my favorite. I think I gave it 3 stars. The things I didn't like about it were I felt like there was a lot of build up to climactic moments, but the climactic moments never had like good fleshed out stories. And so I didn't like that. And there were certain characters that I didn't really like at the time, but I knew I wanted to keep going with the series because I loved the cliffhanger in the first book. When I think of YA fantasy, I think of very specific like themes and tropes and elements, and this embodied all of that for me. Like, there were good characters, there were bad characters, there was, you know, a royal setting, a kingdom, and like rebels versus the crown basically. And to me, that's like definition of YA fantasy. Obviously YA fantasy is a bit broader, not a bit, a lot broader, but to me that was just like the epitome of YA fantasy, and this book had all of that, and I really loved that. Like, I loved the new characters they brought in. I liked the conflicts. Even though I was able to predict certain things that were going to happen, it never took away from my enjoyment from the book. It was always like, yes, that happened, like, and it was done really well. So it was just very rewarding, I guess. I really enjoyed how it was plotted out. One of my issues with this book though, and I had the same issue with the first book, is I don't like one of the main characters, Jaren. Not that he's a bad character by any means, he's just boring to me. He's every YA fantasy love interest, and I'm just like, could you be a bit more interesting? Like, that's my only issue. I think he's a good character, I'm just a bit bored by him. So like, that kind of took away from my enjoyment because I feel like there was a bit too much of him, even though he's a main character. It was just a bit too much, and I was like, I see you, I know you're here, but like, you could bring in the other characters. Like, I don't know, he's still a good character. I still like the way he functions in the plot. I like his relationship with the other characters. He's just not my favorite, and I don't always enjoy his scenes because I'm indifferent towards him. Those are all the books that I read in April. I had such a good reading month. I enjoyed most of the books I read. Like, it was just great. I am glad with what I was able to read. Like, it's crazy I was able to read 10 books. I've never been able to do that from my knowledge. I think the most I've read is 9 in a month, so go me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in another.